You need to explain to me and the world what the ever-loving hell is going on in Texas with Trump's executive. Is it the executive order about the census to no longer include counting of illegal aliens for the purposes of, I don't know if it was only for congressional seats. Starting in Texas, the big news of the week was that there was going to be a vote on redistricting and also funding for the victims of the Texas flooding, as far as I understood it. And the accusation is that this was a special session called to determine or allocate funds for relief for victims of the Texas flood. And Texas Republicans added to the docket a vote on redistricting so that they would have to vote on one and the other because they paired them together. And Democrats say exploitively, because it was supposed to be about only helping the victims of the Texas flood, Republicans seized the opportunity to play politics. Instead of going, first of all, is that a fair description? Because I try to steelman the argument, but is that a fair description of what the Democrats' objection to what the Republicans did is?
Really, their objection is that the House districts that got drawn in 2020 now favor Democrats more than it should and would have had they known there would be a massive Mexican-American working class shift to the Republican Party brand. And so Democrats believe only they should get to do partisan redistricting. Republicans, that's just outrageous. That's gerrymandering. When they're doing it, it's just representing the voters. So there's people that have done detailed studies, including independent people that don't have a partisan approach. And everybody agrees that if we had completely nonpartisan congressional district apportionment and drawing, that Republicans would have far more seats. If you excluded illegal aliens, Republicans would have even about another 20 plus seats.
Can I actually stop you just for 1 second? Redistricting good, gerrymandering bad. That's the legal distinction.
Right. That's exactly how it works for Democratic lingo and rhetoric. We probably should do like a vocabulary guide, the Orwellian Democratic Party explanation of what words really mean by Humpty Dumpty. We could have Humpty Dumpty be the author of it, as he says, a word is what I say it means. In the Wonderland books. So that's one aspect, is that if we had honest redistricting, Republicans have mostly unilaterally disarmed and allowed Democrats to draw districts in a very aggressive way, in ways that hurt them in a range of states: New York, North Carolina, Illinois, California. You can, all throughout the Northeast. The Massachusetts governor came out and denounced it. Massachusetts redistricting apportionment is so bad. Their gerrymandering is so bad. They haven't elected a Republican to the House in more than 30 years. So, it's a crock that she's up there saying, well, what we redistrict? What can you do, darling? You already gerrymandered it to hell. So that was one issue. Second issue is Assistant Attorney General, who is doing very good work at the Justice Department, Harmeet Dillon, pointed out various cases they are pursuing. Their official policy required the state of Texas to redistrict because they had previously redistricted on racial lines to promote the Democratic theory of special districts based on racial apportionment. Basically, you had to make sure a certain number of Hispanics were Mexican Americans, in this case, were elected to Congress from Texas. That has always been unconstitutional, but the courts have refused to do anything about it. Harmeet Dillon now is. Court decisions have now second-guessed that repeatedly, including out of the Fifth Circuit governing the state of Texas. So Texas likely needed to redistrict anyway. They called a special session to get it done. And what it is, one of the latest scams and schemes of Democrats is to use the quorum requirement to create a de facto minority veto.
Okay, but hold on. Before we get to the quorum argument, I just want to make sure I understand why they're complaining about it. What would have been the method of redistricting or revisiting the redistricting without pairing it with the vote on the funding for relief for the victims of the Texas flood?
For Texas, so Texas called a special session, which had a bunch of items, one of which was redistricting.
Okay, so the special session was not exclusive to funding for the victims of the flooding.
It multiple items. It was whatever they had not been able to raise in the prior session.
Sons of bitches, Robert. Okay, fine. Because I thought it was, my understanding, at least the way they were describing it, it was a special session only to discuss the funding relief for the Texas flood, and these bastards joined another issue to it. Okay, a special session lasts how long?
So it goes until August 20th. And so the governor can convene it. And there were a long litany of issues, of which one they decided to add. For example, the Democrats had no problem with the special session. Then the governor, Abbott, added redistricting because of the rate. I don't think he had the political guts to just do it for political reasons. He did it because of the Fifth Circuit decision that was saying, and the Supreme Court now saying they were going to revisit racial redistricting writ large, and felt obligated. And Harmy Dillon came out and said Texas needs to redistrict because right now its districts are unconstitutional because they're racially motivated and racially discriminatory. So now what it is it's the biggest state where the most seats could shift. California and New York are saying and Illinois are saying they're going to redistrict. They've already hammered their districts, so it's very tough for them to squeeze out any more Democratic districts. And then they've superimposed their own procedural barriers for Republicans to do it that now hinder their ability. So that's the political background. Texas, they think as many as 5 seats could be shifted to the Republican Party if they redistrict. And then they, with the help apparently of Beto O'Rourke, with the help apparently of wealthy out-of-state donors, including one and only George Soros, according to published reports, they went on a private plane to escape the state of Texas and go to Illinois, a bunch of Democrats.
It was definitely private. I noticed that. You don't get off on the tarmac when you fly coach. This is Venice AI. It's not the sponsor for tonight's show, but I've been using it instead of Chat GPT. This is the list of stuff that was allegedly on the special session agenda: the flood warning, redistricting, THC regulation, abortion pills, bathroom bill. I don't know that this is accurate, and I hope I asked it the right question. But I was okay. Well,
right. There was like 21 or more items.
That's wild. I mean, that's where I didn't even know to ask that question because I thought it was strictly one issue, and then they unfairly lumped in the redistricting. Holy hell! All right. So then they're scoundrels. It's just like even though I didn't know, I'm not cynical enough. They're scoundrels. They literally abscond and go to what I know is the king of all gerrymandering, Chicago, Illinois, and
that lard ass Pritzker. Whose family has deep-seated mob ties, if you dig in, going way back. Was eager. He thinks he's the next president, by the way. He's going to run president 2028. He makes Chris Christie look like a beacon of public health. That's who Pritzker is. So or that Congressman Randy Fine, who makes Gerald Nadler look like a beacon of public health. So what they're really trying to do is, so you have a rule of quorum. And quorum is just to make sure that when the legislature votes on something, they were actually present to vote on it. That's all that means. It's a procedural mechanism to secure the presence of the legislature. They are interpreting it because what they did is they fled. By fleeing, there's no quorum. Because there's no quorum, they can't vote on anything. And they plan on not coming back. They won't report on when they're going to come back.
But hold on, but just explain this to a Canadian schnook. How is this literally not dereliction of duty? Like, this is their job. The quorum could happen if there's, I don't know, a delay in traffic, and so they can't vote until quorum gets there. This is deliberate obstruction of an official government proceeding. Why would they not be able to be charged with that?
That is, in fact, what is going forward. So and what has happened is the governor has filed a emergency petition for a writ of quo warranto, warranto, and it's basically literally a warrant, if you will, to take a particular action when someone in office usually it's for when someone's pretending to be in office. So there have been election contests going back centuries that have been adjudicated before we had election contest laws in the form of, quote, petition of quo warranto. You're saying a pretender has the king's throne, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so that's the point the governor made. The governor made is the constitutional requirement when you get elected to the legislature is that you shall meet. It's not you can meet. It's not if you want to meet. It's not if you want to get there. It's you shall convene. And he has ordered the special session, so that meant constitutionally their obligation under their oath of office is they shall convene. And his point is if you are neglecting that, failing to do so, you are forfeiting your office. And the remedy under Texas law is to file it with the Supreme Court, and they can issue a petition granting it, saying this person has now forfeited their office. And then in the interim, Governor Abbott could replace them. And so the other point I think they made, which was excellent in the petition that was brought before the Texas Supreme Court, was if the rule is any other way, then you have converted a quorum into a right of minority veto.
It's a veto. I mean, an effective veto.
forever. And I mean, and you can permanently veto any legislation. You can completely shut down the entire Texas government by just not showing up, because then they can't authorize any expenditure of any funds or any taxes or define any set of civil or criminal law liability at all. And they're like, the quorum requirement was a procedural one. It was never intended to confer veto power. And you contrast that with the Texas Constitution compelling a person to be present, that they shall convene as part of their oath of office. They have, and the petition, quorum unto petitions can be granted for a forfeiting or neglecting office. And clearly, this is not only neglecting office, this is forfeiting office. They have been ordered to convene. They're refusing to convene. And if it's done any other way, as you note, it creates a de facto minority veto. Whatever number of people that can make up quorum are necessary for a quorum can just constantly flee and refuse to appear unless you give them what they want, which is a minority veto, which no quorum procedure has ever been legally held to provide for.
Now, it's been done, I think, at least 3 or 4 times. I don't know if it's specifically in Texas, but it's been done.
Wisconsin's done. Other states have done it. I think it would be a great way to shut this down, because this is a misuse and abuse of quorum procedures that are intended to make sure the legislature actually meets and does its job in order to confer a minority veto power that would completely bankrupt the ability of government to function at all. And it's like a filibuster on steroids.
No, well, it's first of all, it's so much worse than I thought, because I thought maybe there was some meat to the argument that the Republicans sort of ungraciously or opportunistically attached it to a bill that was only to help the kids, or a session that was only to help the victims. That's bad. The issue that they can't even stay in the state because they could otherwise be served in the state, so they have to go out of state so that Texas cannot lawfully.
But they needed a private plane. They were scared if they went to the public airport, they'd be arrested at the airport and brought to the legislature. Not arrested for criminal purposes, simply just brought physically to the Texas legislature.
What a bunch of sons of bitches, Robert. Sorry. And this is James Tallarico, who was just on Rogan, who Rogan said should run for president. I made the joke at the time. Maybe he was just trying to put him on blast and expose him for what he was. He's coming out here and saying, we're doing this for the people, derelicting on our duty to actually go and vote because we know we're going to lose on the redistricting, and we like the way it's set up now.
If it was the other way around, if Republicans were doing this, you would see on the nightly news the people who are not receiving aid from the floods, right? I mean, because that's who they're directly harming, because they can't allocate any funds for the victims of the floods. But you see how the media plays this when the shoe is on the other foot.